Good evening. Good evening. Okay, sorry. Good evening. My name is Jeremy Walsworth. I'm the director of Howarth of London. It's my pleasure to welcome you all and our live stream guests to this premiere of Benjamin Britten's 6 Metamorphoses after Ovid, and to let you know the running order of this evening. In a moment, the film, which is about 15 minutes in length, will be shown for the first time publicly. Then Jolie Coos, artistic director of the Endolian Festival, will lead a Q&A taking questions from the audience with our very own Emily Pailthorpe, who needs no introduction here. Following the Q&A, we will have the second screening of the film, which will finish shortly before 8 o'clock. After this, we can repair to the cinema's charming bar. As oboe makers, we at Howarth endeavour to put the best instruments possible into the hands of our artists, wherever that may take them. It's exciting for us when they inspire new ways of playing and expression. We're proud to be makers of oboes, but also extremely proud to be a founding part of this project, which takes this iconic piece of the oboe repertoire into an entirely new artistic realm. It is perhaps through music that we can express our feelings better than words ever can. Thank you, and we look forward to your feedback.
Welcome, everyone. What an absolutely special evening and a unique event for us all. I feel really very privileged to be here and to share that with you all as well. So welcome. We're going to have a question and answer. And I thought I'd start the ball rolling, actually, and get a question in first. And then, should you feel inspired, please put your hand up. And those of you near the back, because I can't see so well, you might need to do that a bit. And we'll get our question over to Emily. Thank you, Emily, so much for sharing with us. My first question to get the ball rolling is, how did this start? And what I'm intrigued with is, what was the journey? That was the end result, but how much did that change from the original concept?
It was quite a journey. That's all I can say. Howarth had commissioned a video of the 6 Metamorphoses after Ovid to go onto my YouTube channel, and we had originally planned to film this in a beautiful gallery with, sort of Greek statues and lots of fabric, and it was going to be a beautiful film. We were talking about what actor we might have to read the lines that Britten has put in the initial piece. And then out of the blue, about 6 weeks before this was supposed to happen, I got an email from these sort of amazing oboe makers, forward-thinking people at Howarth, who said, actually, couldn't you make a film about mental health instead? We'd just come out of the pandemic, and mental health was really on everyone's mind. And as we know, the oboe is an instrument that particularly pulls at your heartstrings. It's sort of, you have to do a lot of death-defying things to play the oboe. You have to pull the sound out of the instrument, and in that pulling becomes a sort of sound that is particularly good at capturing yearning, loneliness, grief. So the connection made immediate sense to me. The answer might have been, I don't think so, except that the email happened to arrive when I was sitting at home with Bronwen, who was on break from uni. And so I sort of threw out this idea. And a couple hours later, when I'd gotten out my oboe and played the piece, and we'd both written down independently the emotions that we heard in the piece, and found out that we got the exact same emotional journeys for each metamorphosis, we thought, we're on to something. And I also had in my mind, I had just been watching Leonard Bernstein's amazing sort of guides to young people, and with my sons, and we were watching one where he talked about how he was saying music does not tell a story. And we were also looking at each other, because I've always talked about the story that we tell when we play. But his point is that music is an emotional language. You can tell many stories, but the emotion is what comes through loud and clear. And so Bronwen and I decided to tell a different story, and one that takes the music away from these sort of archaic myths where, men are chasing women who have to turn into nymphs, and instead tell a much more modern story, a story that was definitely influenced by what we had all just gone through. A story that's in our home. That was filmed in my next door neighbor's house on our foot ferry. It's our place, it's our story. And so that's how we got started. The other thing that, when I see it now, that is quite interesting is Britten wrote many amazing film scores. He, is known for his film scores. And so we've put this piece then as a film score, but what we've essentially done is, instead of the score being written for the movie, we've made the film for the score. We've kind of flipped that on its head, and we recorded the score first and then made the movie to
I think that came across, didn't it? That very much that I don't know how anyone else feels about it, but I'm quite an audio person, and I need the visuals to not get in the way of the music. This is deep, complicated music, but I very much enjoyed the balance and the way that the music illuminated the score. So are there any questions? And if not, I'll ask a few more if that's... Oh, yes, please. I can't see who it is, but could you say who you are? Cause
Lois Oliver.
Oh, Lois, hello. Yeah.
I think my question might be for Bronwen, and I don't know if that's allowed, as you don't have a microphone.
project, yes.
It might be for Emily as well. So I was really intrigued by how you came, obviously there's 6 metamorphoses there, 6 really powerful stories of transformation in the original myths, and how you came to this wonderful idea of it being a single narrative where one character encounters all of those transformations, felt like in a single day. And I wondered how you arrived at that kind of thread through it all.
We thought from the beginning that we wanted to tell an overarching story. And so we came up with this loose idea of recovery from grief, and we didn't want to make it too specific. And we could have made it much darker. But I think Bronwen and I both essentially believe that music can lead us to put ground underneath our feet again, and that music is a way that we process emotion. And so we wanted to tell a story that had resolution and that was an optimistic story. Also, I think the piece ends very optimistically. You know, that Arethusa is, I find when I perform it, it almost comes out of nowhere. And in telling the story that we told, I like that it's sort of, there's hints of Arethusa right from the beginning all the way through, that we finally arrive where the piece has been taking us.
Did anyone, there are these Greek myths, but this was quite modern, what you were doing. I mean, I saw eating disorder, distraction, to move away from grief. And I thought Narcissus come up, and I thought, okay, we're going to have somebody that's really into themselves. But actually, I saw a point where our young Bronwen started to self-care and then looked in the mirror and started to align.
Yeah.
Someone perhaps who felt quite fractured by what had happened. It was, a really, really interesting journey and a beautiful arc.
Yeah. And I think, certainly when we were talking about it, I was quite influenced by the sort of therapy which I deliver, which is about listening to the various parts of ourselves and what wisdom those hold. And so this idea of a reintegration, of grief blowing us apart, and how do we find ourselves again? How do we know ourselves again after that? The sort of real seed of the whole idea was Niobe, which stands stoically as the centerpiece of the Metamorphoses, and we kind of grew out from there.
Absolutely beautiful. Yes, Julian.
Hello, yes, Julian Glant. I'm a conductor and pianist. I know Emily very well. Emily, this is absolutely fantastic playing.
Thank you.
I mean, one of the things about this piece is when it's a single line, and very often you hear it and you don't hear any harmony. But I hear the way you approach it. You hear this incredible full sound, and beautifully produced, by the way. So you hear harmony all the time. It's a very full sound, a very full and rich harmonic sound. And the picture actually sort of, that's all part of it too. Explain a little bit how you approach the music and how hard it is. Make sure everyone knows how hard it is.
It's hard to play the oboe. Yeah, no, it is. It's a piece that has so much possibility. It did help that we were telling a story, because I had the story in my mind, and it helped that there was going to be the visual for the sort of contrast that I was imagining. And so, for instance, at the end of Niobe, you've got this sort of huge long phrase, and at the very end, you can hear, I'm like, I've used the oxygen in my toes. And there's this quivering, and I think that adds to where she's at. And so to be, it was amazing to be doing this for a film where you take it out of the concert hall, and I could play the pieces the way I really wanted to play them. Yeah.
Yes.
I was just going to ask, is there any significance to you being shown as a reflection in the beginning and then being shown properly at the end?
Absolutely. So the idea was that she, at the very beginning, she can't even engage with music. It's painful to her to hear it. She's trying to block it out. So there's that. It's there for her, and there's this calling for her, but she can't look at it. So the fact that the music is always seen at a distance, definitely has significance. And also, those of you who know the piece well and know Britten's introduction to each one will see that we sort of loaded it up with, symbolism. There's the, the four little horsemen. Phaeton is about, Phaeton being pulled on the chariot of the sun gods. We had the four chess pieces. There's, all the grapes and the wine and the arrow earring, because Niobe's children were killed by arrows, all 14 of them, before she turns to stone. And water throughout the whole thing as a symbol of our flow and also of washing away grief, our tears. Again, going back to Bernstein, the purpose of art is to ask questions. So there's a lot of things that I don't quite know what we created, but we sort of did it. So.
I'm going to move on to a slightly different level. I'm aware that many artistic collaborations work so well because of the collaborative process. Yeah. Was it just you and Bronwen? Who was else was on your team?
Absolutely not. I mean, any of you who've created something artistically will know that for it to work, people just, it's the goodness of their hearts and they go above and beyond. And this is a product of several amazing people, first of whom is Hamish, who's working over there doing the live stream at the moment, but who is the DP and the editor. And I was at Hamish's house till 1 a.m, countless nights, as was Bronwen, and his amazing musicianship helped line things up, and his vision of the color informed the whole piece. Ben Warren, who's here, who I think you'll agree just got the most stunning sound and was just such a support and so behind the piece. And when we'd chosen our venue to record, and then we found that we'd chosen it in quiet, and then once the planes started again, actually we couldn't even begin to record there, was able to move us to Maida Vale Studios, had the amazing idea of, I said, Ben, I really want to have this echo. I really want it to sound like an echo, but I want it to be natural. And we opened up the piano and I played into the piano, and that got the echo we wanted. And then, the team at Howarth, who spent just, anytime I went in with my instrument and said, could it do this for me? Could it do this? Just bent over backwards to help me get the sound that I wanted from their instruments, which are such a joy to play. And that's not to mention husbands who did watercolors at 11 o'clock at night without batting an eyelid the day before they were needed, and who fed crew and picked up all the other pieces. So, and I'm just scratching the surface. Yeah.
So this artistic project is also massive acts of kindness,
yes,
all along, which we know is good for your mental health. Yeah, right. And yes, Ben.
How about the mother-daughter collaboration? How did that go?
Well, it's not the first time, is it? It's not the first time. Bronwen and I have been sort of collaborating since she started acting. We've sort of found ways we've had a sort of lively discussion going, and she's the person who I would choose first to bounce artistic ideas off of. So I felt incredibly blessed. When we started talking about it, the idea was that she would direct. There came a point into our discussions where I said, you do realize you're going to have to act in it as well, because we're not going to be able to describe this all. And I will say we filmed it in 2 days. So Whoa. You can imagine how much kindness was needed to do that. So, that's where my naivete went into it. So anyway, but we did it. But yeah.
Are there any more questions? I have a final one. This intrigues me. We are here tonight in this, I think, incredible event, very unique. We're hearing the most wonderful oboe playing. But I knew this about you, so I knew I was in for a treat. Bronwen, extraordinary. This is a premiere of a really talented actor. I mean, your face draws one in, and you do so little and yet you say so much. Where's the future of this project? I can see it going in all sorts of ways, but it's so unique. What plans have you got for the film? What might come out of it?
Yes, I mean, that's our ulterior motive for getting everybody here and to launching the film. We've got a room full of creative people who are interested in emotional processing and music. And so we've had some ideas even from people as they were RSVPing. We're now going to enter it in film festivals. I'm going to be doing some classes where the film is screened and then I talk about music and mental health. But we're very open to ideas of what we do with this. What is it? Is it a music video? Is it and we'd love your feedback. And I did notice a question in the back, and I just wanted to say I'm going to be in the bar afterwards and really happy I'd love to talk about it more, and would really invite comments and ideas.
Great. Shall we watch it again?
Yeah, I mean, we really deliberated about whether to show it a second time. But with music lectures, often you'll hear the piece, talk about it, and then hear it again. And we decided in the end that we might see the film a different way, and after the discussion we'd see different things. And we also thought we'd rather risk watching it twice than wishing we had. So yes, hope everybody enjoys it, and really looking forward to seeing you in the bar afterwards.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Jolie.